here. Beautiful day. We got a little bit of rumblings coming all over the mountain. I think we might get some rain, but it's the 31st of August, 2022. And we have a little bit of an update on our LTO deal with the bike. Well, we got all the stuff done, and of course the computers went down yesterday. And then, so my wife said, I'll just go up there. I signed all the papers and stuff, so she was going to run up there by herself. And then at around, she left at 8 o'clock this morning. And then at a little bit before noon, she texted me and said that the computers are down again, but they have my papers inside, so she might come home. It's 1:30 now, and she's still not home. So. We'll see how it goes. The computers are down again down there. They have a lot of problems with their systems with the LTO. Just know that if you ever have to go to the LTO, this it happens on a regular basis. So it's just their system. It's a shame, but it is what it is. But I got some more stuff for it today. I don't have my brake lights yet. They didn't come today. Says they're here in the Philippines, but we haven't gotten them. But I got my armor for the wire. I'll get it all taken care of. When I get everything together, then I'm gonna finish it out. One fella got in contact with me and said that, I believe it was Kenneth, said that he put lights up high and an LTO guy stopped him. Now I went ahead and talked to them right down at the LTO, and they said no, it's not a problem. So the guy was probably just messing with him because he was a foreigner maybe. I don't know, but having lights on the back up high, come on. I think they were just messing with him. A lot of those guys don't know what the laws are. It seems to be that way. I even see that in the U.S. I watch these cop watch vlogs from time to time, and you see them. You see that the cops don't even know the laws there. So, more than likely the same here. But I'm putting them on. I got the okay for it. I think what I'll do, I wish I would have had it in writing, but I'm going to put them on, and I'll just have them on a switch. If a guy wants to be a complainer, I'll just switch it off, just so they don't bug you. But I don't think I'm going to get bothered. I've never really been bothered on the tricycles before, or my Piaggio. It's just not a hassle here. They seem to leave the tricycle guys alone. I sure do like it because it's keeping all these stupid little trips that we have off of this buggy right here. That's not good to start up a car and not even warm it up and drive it. So that's not good. But I was talking to my buddy Ronald. He wants to come here, and he's even thinking of a trike since he's seen my videos. But make sure when you get a trike, you get a bike that's designed for it, or at least has a good full frame. He was showing me a really nice Yamaha, but it was like a Delta frame up on top. I'm not sure if it was aluminum or not. If it's aluminum, it's definitely forget it. It wouldn't handle the stress from a tricycle. And they talk about different tubings that they use. Mine's pretty heavy tubing. It's right in the middle between, I don't know what they call it here, but it's right in the middle between EMT and rigid. It's kind of like a middle of the road. It's 5/8 inch, and it's a little bit heavier. But I have seen my last tricycle was made out of pretty much all EMT except a big 3/4 piece of rebar that ran down across for the axle, and then of course the springs and all that in the wheel. But the entirety of the whole rest of the trike was EMT. And once we got the welds done right on it, because a couple things busted on it right off the bat, it's because it was just a poor weld job. It got fixed up, and we never had a problem with it. And then we sold it to a neighbor guy, and they run it all the time. So I've seen them down in Mindoro where they're putting 10 and 12 60-pound sacks of rice in a regular pasture one. They pile them on these trikes to get them out to the road because the jeepneys can't get back in there. There's no way. They'd be stuck or whatever. And there's no trees you can even put a winch on. You just pull the tree out of the ground. So what happens is all the tricycle drivers, they want to make a couple bucks, so they run down there into the jungle. They pick up the rice in the bags, and then they come out to they drive it out to the road to load it on the jeepneys. And these things do it all the time. So I had a fellow that helped me with the trike years ago. He's a trike builder in southern Ohio, right on the border. And he was saying, he's seen videos of them. Yeah, those are junk, blah, blah, blah. Well, I know he's a trike builder, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. If you come here and you look at the duty that these trikes do, they know how to build them here. These guys, if you got a good welder, you know, that's the main thing you got to look for, a guy who knows how to weld. And if you got a good welder, you're not going to have problems. Mine is looking great. We got to stop up next week. We're going to be going up to the mall and up to the hardware store. And we're gonna get some more black paint, and we get a nice, good, hot, dry day. I'm gonna touch up. There's a lot of little rust spots. He kind of was rushing it. If we would have gave him another day, but we wanted to get out of Enduro. You know, we were missing the kids already, but there's a few spots need it. I mean, if you look all around, there's little spots that need hit. And I'm not digging on him or anything. He got this thing out pretty good. But this one here, one of the things I would recommend on like this, we probably should have took this off. It's just in the way. When I go to do anything on the wheel now, it's majorly in the way. So, and also it would be nice on this bike if it would be easier to get the exhaust off. You know, the way it's buried in there right now. I wish for a tricycle bike, there's a couple things I would love to see. One thing is, for a tricycle bike, the exhaust should be on this side. Absolutely 100% it should be on this side. And if I ever get another bike, I'm going to move it to this side myself. And the other thing too, if you're riding a single bike in this country, in England, this is great. If you pull up to the side of the road next to the curb, you put your left kickstand down, and the bike leans in towards the sidewalk. Well, here they have them on the right, so, or excuse me, on the left. So the bike's leaning into the traffic. They should put the kickstand on the other side, just if you're going to ride a single here. But you know, one of the things I would like to do down the road here is maybe down the road, find one of those MotorStars. Wes sent me some stuff on it, and I've been reading the reviews on it. It's a MotorStar 400cc. It's got a full frame on it, so it'd be easy to attach this trike to it. You'd have a little bit more gumption, maybe a little bit of a gearing change. That would be a great bike. But just remember, to get on the highway in this country, you can have a Royal Enfield at 400, and it's only got 22 horsepower or something like that. It's a lot on the highway, but yet a Honda 300 that has 4 or 5 more horsepower and can do a higher top speed can't go on the highway. You know, they haven't revamped the laws on that ever since they put them in, I guess. You know, because there's some of these little bikes, they'll go on the road. I know guys in the States that got those 300s, and they buzz along on the highway for times. So, you know, that's just it's just the way they're going to do it. But if you do build a tricycle, there is a ban on, and I don't care if you got a 1000cc tricycle, there's a ban on going on the highway. There was a German fella came here. When I first moved here, I was up in Alabang, and I seen this guy riding by in the mornings. He said he liked to drive in the day, or in the morning. I would get off work at 4, and I would just walk to the jeepney station when I first got here, because I couldn't, you know, didn't want to take the bike with all the traffic, and I just said heck. So I saw him and talked to him a little bit, and he had this BMW. Man, was it a sweet bike, and he had a custom sidecar. It had a regular car tire on it. It was completely enclosed. It opened up like a big eggshell thing on the top, and he said he shipped it from Germany, paid all the stuff for it, and he said he wished he would have just sold it because he's not allowed on the highway with it. So even though he has this thing that he said he was on the Autobahn and he was cruising along at 120 with his wife in it, they will not let him on the highway here. So, you know, it's just one of the things you have to deal with. You know, they just set something in stone here, and that's just the way it is. There's no change in their mind. And those things, I've seen them before. I had tricycles that I was on the highway with, and you know, you can cruise along. I had it on the XR 650, and I'd buzz along at 70. You know, I could cruise along pretty good with mine. I had it just for a tool buggy, you know, to haul my tools, and then it was easy to come off. I had it with real nice connectors, so I could put it on and off the bike real quick. So but they got their rules and laws here, so you have to know. But I think that Motorstar 400 would be ideal. It's a single cylinder. It's a copy of the Honda. I don't know if it was a Honda Hawk or what, but MASH 400. They got different names for it. There's a Japanese name for it too, but it's basically the same bike. I believe they're made in Taiwan. And you see, like I say, you see the reviews on it are super high. That's a Honda designed motor, you know. Now some of the bikes here that I've seen some of the Chinese bikes come in here and the guys buy them because they look great, and in a year they're just trashed. So you have to be really careful, watch reviews on them. There's a lot of motorcycle clubs. We were actually driving on the highway when about 30 of those Motorstars passed us on the highway. We were just cruising along, you know. I was drafting a truck, doing about 80, 85. Just, we were in no hurry, and we seen these guys come around us on the left, and I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. And some of them, though, the only thing I didn't like was some of them had a super loud exhaust. You know, they opened up the pipes and all that. And me, I don't like that. This one thing I love about this little Yamaha, it was cheap and it's quiet. It's not going to wake up the neighbors. It's not going to set off car alarms and all that. I want quiet. Now, the Motorstar that I got to look at and take a little putt on, it was a American guy that was here, big fella, about 6'4", and I seen it and I said, man, that's a pretty nice bike. I says, you know, is that a Honda? And he goes, yeah, it's basically a Honda. And I says, how do you like it? He goes, man, I love it. He goes, it's a great bike for here. I can get on the highway, and he says it'll cruise along at, you know, 100 kilometers an hour, no problem. He says it doesn't have any problem doing 100, maybe a little bit more. And he was a pretty big fella. He looked like he went about 240. And hey, you want to take it for a spin? Didn't know me from Adam. You want to take it for a spin? And I'm like, yeah, I want to take it for a spin. And I thought it was a pretty cool bike. Now that's been 8-9 years ago that happened, but it seemed to run really good. It's a one-lunger. You know, I've seen some of them that have the 2 exhaust pipes, like they do on some of the other bikes. You know, they have a exhaust port for each valve. And I think Honda does that on a couple bikes, but it's a single cylinder, and you know, it's a torque monster. That's what it's designed for, and I think it would make a great tricycle bike. But that's all down the road once we get our place done in Mindoro. So I'm hoping that can happen, and I do love the, you know, like this is one of the big things I really liked. And also the shifter on that bike too was proper. It was a proper shifter, so you wouldn't have any trouble. This one I still, you know, I'm doing heel toe on this one. Heel for up and toe for downshift. It's really, this bike is really easy with the gearing change. When you're driving it, you know exactly what gear you're in. I've had bikes that had the gearing indicator and you needed it, you know, because sometimes you couldn't tell. This one, you know, first is a creeper gear. If you're on level ground, you could take off in second, and then it becomes like a 3-speed. But that real low first gear is absolutely fantastic for traffic. I would recommend that on this bike. It's not a speedster. When we got the whole family in there, we can buzz along about 35. That's just what she'll do. That's a sweet spot. You can go a little bit faster if you're on level ground or down a hill, but it's just not designed for that. It's too heavy. You got to remember, you got to stop these things. And when you hit the brake, that tricycle wants to pass the bike. That tricycle body right there, this is only a 250-pound motorcycle. That's why I like the Honda, because it was 350. It was a little bit heavier. It didn't pull so much. This one, you hit the brakes, it pulls. That tricycle tries to pass you by. And when you take off, it tries to lag behind. So you're getting a little bit of pull on this one. And with my shoulder, I really notice it. This stupid shoulder just doesn't seem to want to heal right now. But we love this little machine. I would like to have one of those bikes, but I'm still thinking though, when we get down to Mindoro, if we could put one on this tricycle body, it would be a lot better for cruising around. And then I just want to get a dirt bike of some sort. I like that CRF 150L, air-cooled, simple, nothing to go wrong. It's got the unicorn motor on it. That would be a nice one. I actually saw one up in was in Carmona, And the guy come out, and I said, hey, I haven't seen one at the dealership or anything. Could I just sit on it? I want to see. And it just seemed to fit me pretty good. Springs are a little bit light in the back. I didn't ride it, but I think I would probably, I was blown halfway through the suspension, so springs would have to be done right off the bat. Now, he had the preload all the way backed out. He wasn't a real big fella. And he had to get on it on the kickstand. And he said when he gets to the light, it's pretty rough because his feet weren't long enough, because it's up in the air pretty good. But they also got real good deals on the 250s that are left over, and then of course the CRF 300L, they're selling those, and then they got the rally one and all that. I didn't go for that. I just like the look of the dirt bike. But Minduro, with the roads and wanting to go back in places into the rice fields and stuff, I'm thinking a dirt bike would be the ideal. Put a Motorstar 400 on this, and this one we're going to run this around for however long it takes to get the other one, and just keep buzzing it. It's seeming to work out really good, guys. At first it was underpowered, but I was hauling a huge amount of weight. Those bananas I was carrying were a little over 50 pounds each. Then we had coconuts. I had underneath the seat. And do this, when you put this in, make sure your seat doesn't go all the way to the floor. I've seen them go all the way to the floor. That's just dumb. This gives you storage underneath there. And we had a whole bunch of big coconuts, a huge bag, a rice bag full of those, plus we had all kinds of other vegetables, plus our gear and the whole family in there. So I kind of gave it a bad rap, and I just had the thing overloaded like ridiculous. So, you know, it's not really a good one. The next time it goes to Minduro, it's going to go down there to stay. You know, I don't want to take it back and forth. It's just not like a cruiser like my other one was. But you got to remember, my other Tricycle body was probably half the weight of this thing. It was all made out of EMT, and this one's made out of a semi-rigid. It's not a galvanized rigid, but it's much thicker. 5/8, very strong. This is 1/2 inch, but it's heavy. It's some heavy pipe, and that's what I wanted. You know, if we want to throw cement blocks in here, I'll get a piece of Luan for the floor, and we'll throw cement blocks if I need to carry them, bags of concrete, whatever I need to get. And you know, that's basically what it's going to be. And so far, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm really happy with it. I recommend this Tricycle builder. If anybody wanted to come here and get a Tricycle, I would absolutely 100% recommend this guy. He's also a heck of a nice guy, family man dude. He was planning on going to New Zealand. Hey! And he was planning on going there, but he got a bunch more orders for a trike like this one. And I got some ideas on Tricycles. I would like to see one that's built that's half as wide as this. Put the wheel on the inside of the body here, narrowed up to about this, and then have down the center a place to put your feet on either side, and just a motorcycle seat in a row. Make it about as long as this one, but have a motorcycle seat so you could sit, and it would be much narrower to get through traffic and stuff. And then also having the wheel on the inside. This one, it's hard to judge this wheel. I definitely want to put some curb feelers on it, and I would like to have something that shows me from where I can look right here to see where that wheel is, because I still bump it into stuff. You know, I did that on the first one, and these Tricycle drivers that, you know, got a 1/2 inch of room, these guys have been driving these things for years, and they're just good. they're just really good at driving their Tricycle. I'm getting the hang of it. It's going a lot better. We're running it up to some decent speeds now. The tires on it are looking great. It does a little bit of wobble if you start hitting bumps and stuff, and the front end's bottoming out. I have to go really slow over bumps. Once you're rolling, it's okay on the bumps, but slow speed bumps, it just boom, it's hitting the bottom. The dude was telling me, oh, just put a spacer in there, but we did that on the other one. It didn't work. I need to put a heavier duty spring inside, or, you know, figure something out. But by putting spacers in, you're compressing the spring, and they'll still bottom out. The other one still bottomed out. It didn't help it at all. And we put a spacer in that was about 4 inches long. The one that was in it I think it was about 1 inch, and we got one and we put it in there that was 4 inches long. Didn't help it a bit, not a bit. So that's something that I have to do. It's just here finding parts like that. You know, it has to be more of a Manila thing where you got custom bike shops and stuff like that. But I still think it's a great machine. Definitely do these tires. There's no wallow with this one. My other one wallowed a little bit. You could feel it, especially when you're doing highway speeds. If you went into a corner, you could feel the trike, especially when you're making a right-hand corner. You could just feel it roll over on the tire. So these 8-ply sidewall made a big difference. Yesterday I had it out just by myself, and you know, the other one I could fly the chair. I could come around a corner, and I could get that chair up, and it was very easy to balance and learn. You know, you got to learn that stuff so that you know what's going to happen to your bike in an emergency. And it was very easy to fly. It could get out of control if you had a real fast maneuver, but this one, I could barely get the wheel off the ground. You know, and it just wanted to land down right away. As soon as I just touched the wheel to get it back over, it just boom, it immediately touched back down. So the weight of this thing, it doesn't want to fly the chair like on my other one. And if you have people in it, it's probably not going to happen. I definitely think it's not going to happen. But if I wind up putting a Motorstar 400 on this, I'll get myself a rear wheel just like this with the drum in it. And I'll make myself a connection with a cable so I can have a brake on that wheel too. I did that on the other one, and you have to really adjust that right. You can't have it so it's grabbing real hard. But I played around with it until I got the adjustment just right. I used the same foot pedal for it, and it stopped. That one stopped really good. I mean, it stopped even in the wet. You could lock both back wheels up in the wet, and it would just come along real sweet. You know, it was a lot of fun driving that one. It was much quicker than this one. So, but I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Just more updates on what happens at the LTO. You just got to learn to live with it. It's just what happens here. I imagine the system's probably pretty old, and they never want to spend money on infrastructure, you know, unless it's something new. And I don't think they're going to throw the money at LTO, to be honest with you. So it's a shame, but I feel bad. My wife actually went in there. There were a lot of people from yesterday, and her number was like 1, and they were taking over 1,000. You know, the number that was being called up was over 1,000. So it was just to get the paperwork in there, and I think when she called, they were up to 167, and she was still 1,000. Her number was 1,001. So, and I feel bad for these guys that have to take off a day of work for this. You know, these poor Filipino guys that don't make too much money in the first place. They take a day off to do this, and you have to be there, and then the computer goes down, so now they got to take another day off, and maybe another one. We don't know if it's gonna stay out or keep going out. It was up this morning, it's out again. You know, it's just a shame the infrastructure that they have down there, and I feel bad for the workers because people get steamed at them, and it's not their fault. You know, it's just not. When you run into trouble, I used to see people in the States would yell at cashiers or yell at somebody in Walmart, and it's like, well, it's not their fault. Leave them alone. But that's what happens. I guess it's human nature. But I'm gonna let you go, and guys, I'm really super satisfied with that beautiful looking machine. That actually wasn't the color I wanted. I wanted a blue one, but now that I got the black one and I did the Tricycle matching with the red piping on it, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I forgot to tell you too. The dude's upholsterer, next time we go down there, I'm going to talk to him. This upholsterer, they're absolute crap. It's already coming loose at the bottom of the seats, and this is just from us leaning on it. See, that's all coming apart. So I'll have to get another upholsterer, and I'm going to just tell him, man, you need to get rid of your guy, whoever it is, because it's absolute. You know, maybe he was going for the cheapest price. I don't know, but that's crap. That's got to be fixed. I am gonna put on here. I'm going to get some of that insulation that they have to go over this, and might find some sort of like a golf grip tape type stuff, you know, the black stuff, and put that over in case if we get into a little thing where the kids bump. We'll still work on some seat belts. I can easily get some seat belts put in there, and definitely want the kids to have seat belts in there. And you know, we'll get her fixed up. The plastic's going to be coming. for here. I don't know what we're going to do about, about all this, but it'll probably have to be outside, or maybe I'll have to make sure there's a hole here so I can see this good. But the mirrors are absolutely fantastic. And when we go back, we're going to have this taken off and have them weld a piece in here. He just forgot. And then I got to replace the mirror because I broke it. Just grabbing it, it broke, so bummer. But and then my wires too. When I put that foam stuff on here, that's where I'll run the wires in. I'll put those underneath side, and what I run underneath, I got some of that armor, that plastic armor stuff. You just slip the wire in it from the side, and then it rolls over itself. They use it on cars all the time. I'll have that underneath. There's some good spots I can anchor it and put it up there. And I also, Tim was talking about some really good tape. I had some here too. It's just super sticky stuff, and I think what I'll do is I'll pull that nice and straight, and I'll put some of that sticky tape on it. They use it here on roofs and stuff, and I've seen guys where they got a rust hole in their corrugated roof, and they put one of these on, and they never see another leak. I've done it myself. So I just got to get a roller too, and I can anchor it on either side, but in the center there's no place unless I drill and put a clamp and a tech screw or something like that, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather just tape it up and put it. I can put it behind the one piece here so that in case if I hit something, it won't get damaged. That's what I have to worry about with the wiring. But we'll get it as soon as I get the rest of the stuff, and I get a nice sunny day. I'll get the rest of it on and get it all hooked up. The solar will come later with the controller and all that, maybe a month or two from now. We're still putting away for the house down there. We have to have a couple $100,000 for December so that we can get started, because I want to give the guy at least half the money right off the bat to start, and we'll be there, and then we'll make sure all the stuff getting delivered, and we'll get that done. So I'm gonna let you go. I'm a little bit long-winded, guys. But I got trike on the brain and house on the brain, so we want to get that all done. So you all take care, and something, don't forget to pray for each other. This stuff is really happening now with the world right now. I just see old Whitehole was running again. I got a little picture I'll put in the back end for you about his voters that he's got. But take a look at that. And this is Rickshaw Out.